Hello teachers, this is the last part of our online training. After having your project idea in the previous task, you are going to embed some aspect of technology into your project now. Besides that, this aspect of technology will also be embedded into your rubric for students' assessment. A project-based learning environment can certainly be created without the use of technology. The addition of technology in the classroom, however, undoubtedly enhances the project-based learning experience for the students. When considering the role that technology should play in project-based learning, teachers need to be clear about the essential learning function that tech tools will serve. And then, rather than building a project around the latest, greatest gadget, teachers are better off starting with the academic content and the 21st century skills that they want the students to understand and apply. The right technology tools takes learning deeper and allowing students to analyze information, create and share original content, or accomplish other project results that would be hard to do otherwise. When teachers embed technology into the project-based learning, it will allow students to be independent learners dealing with technology and core subject content. In addition, it will improve their skills fluency with technology tools, of course, which allow them to increase adaptability and their knowledge. And embedding technology will also help students to work on authentic projects and collaborate to solve real-world problems. Some powerful example of learning outcome can be in the form of videos, presentation, online assessment, or audio recordings. In our project-based learning program here, we would like to emphasize on the use of Edmodo as the technology tools. However, it is open for you to add some other technology tools in this project. You know that in Edmodo, students can share and exchange information using notes. You can also ask students to collaborate and discuss using Edmodo at the certain stage of the project. For example, at the initial stage, students can discuss how they are going to complete the project. At the middle stage, students can discuss how they solve some problems while working on the project, and so on and so forth. You can also ask students to create polls to collect data or show their findings, data analysis, and also showing their presentation. You can also ask students to give feedback for revision and reflection upon the presentation or data analysis that the students post in Edmodo. So this can be used for the betterment of the project. You are still open to embed some other application or technology tools into this project. But what you need to think of first is not the application or the gadget, but you need to think of the project type, for example, or the activities. Like if you want a collaboration among students, you still can use Edmodo, or you can also use Wikispace. If you want your students to create a video or presentation, you can use Prezi or iMovie or Photo Booth. If you want your students to create tutorials or learning aids, you can use a free screencast software like Screenomatic, or you can also post it in YouTube, upload it in YouTube. If you want your students to critique or evaluate something, you can use Google Documents. You can also ask your students to create survey using SurveyMonkey, or you can ask your students to create learning journals. If you want your students to create a digital poster or graphic, then you can use a Globster. This is an interesting website where you can ask your students to create a digital poster. Or even you can use Photoshop, Illustrator, or the simple software like Paint. Now we'll talk about the assessment for project-based learning. When you are assessing PBL in which technology is embedded in it, we need to consider some aspect of the technology to be put in the rubric. Here are some ideas that you can put in the rubric. Like, for example, the student's skill in using the technology. We need to pay attention to certain skills we want to assess from the students. And then the core subject. How are you going to input the core subject content knowledge into the assessment of the project? And you need to think of which part of the content knowledge are you going to assess. The interaction is also important. Interaction or sharing among students need to be assessed. For example, when students do collaboration or information sharing to Edmodo, it needs to be included into the rubric. This can be one of the ways to motivate the students too and keep doing the interaction in Edmodo. And then the final project presentation here need to be assessed too. Teacher need to assess the core subject problem solving and the content understanding which is represented in the student's project. And also bear in mind that the authenticity of the approaches to solving the central questions and the result of the final project are also need to be assessed in the rubric. Here are some possible assessment area that you can put into your rubric. You can include the project authenticity, where you can see how does the product of the project reflect the real world situation. You can also take a look at the group work ethic to look at the collaboration, communication, leadership, or time management in the group work. And then you can also look at the technology skills of the students to see the new skill learned and the improvement of the technology skills. Other areas that you can touch can be the core topic of learning, where you can see what core subject knowledge was shown and was a deeper knowledge of a core learning reflected in the student's learning. You can see the problem solving, how students manage to solve the problem as the central problem in the project. You can also look at some other required components. Maybe you can add some other standard of requirement into the project. And then how you are going to integrate technology into the classroom project. You can start with a technology-driven final outcome. So when when you're doing the project launch, you need to think of that the outcome should be tech-driven. And then group project conceptualization and planning time need to be considered too. Here you need to think of the size of the group, the strength and the weaknesses of the students, or even the interests and skills of the students while forming the group. And then you need to integrate the technology skills when deciding the assessment. So which skills you want to assess from the students. And finally, when you decide the final presentation of the product, it should be also technology driven. Now, after we talk about the integration of technology into your project, and also we have talked about how the possibility of putting some aspect of technology into your rubric, let's go over your project idea again. Take a look at it and let's see how you are going to embed technology into your project idea. In which part of the project are you going to put Edmodo or other application or other technology driven interaction? What kind of software are you going to use, application are you going to use, or is there any technology based interaction during this project? And how are you going to assess the whole project into your rubric? So basically I want you to take a look again at your project idea and then give emphasis on technology tools that you are going to put in your project. That's all, and thank you very much.